So, my dad has always been the kind of guy who needs a hobby. Last year, it was bird watching. Before that, a brief and disastrous foray into home brewing. This year, he announced he'd taken up knitting. At first, we were all pretty supportive, mostly because it kept him from trying to turn the garage into a microbrewery again. Plus, it was kind of endearing to see him sitting on the couch with knitting needles, his brows furrowed in deep concentration as he watched YouTube tutorials on the TV. As Christmas approached, Dad was more secretive than usual. He kept locking himself away in the study, shooing anyone away who dared to peek in. Naturally, we assumed he was working on gifts for the family. "You're all getting scarves this year," he'd said proudly, and we were genuinely looking forward to it. I mean, who wouldn't want a handmade scarf from their dad, right? So imagine our surprise when Christmas morning rolled around, and instead of scarves, we each unwrapped something that looked suspiciously like a giant woolen sock. At first, we were confused. Was this some kind of abstract art project? But as we each held up our scarves, realization dawned. They were huge, shapeless tubes, all roughly the same size and resembling something a woolly mammoth might wear if it had a thing for leg warmers. Dad was beaming with pride, explaining that he'd spent every spare minute knitting these scarves, only to realize halfway through that he'd misinterpreted the pattern. "But nothing goes to waste," he declared, urging us to try them on. So there we sat, the entire family, each snugly encased in our own personal woolen sleeping bag, looking like a lineup of human-sized caterpillars. Dad, still beaming, proclaimed, "Well, they're not scarves, but at least you'll all sleep tight this winter." And that's how we ended up with the warmest, albeit most impractical, Christmas gifts ever, and learned to never underestimate Dad's ability to turn a hobby into a family-wide spectacle.